Hello and welcome to PJ's Media Reviews. Today is Sean. You finally get to see what he looks like. And today we're going to be talking about TMNT, the CG animated film from 2007, of course, about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I don't like this movie, but you have a certain appreciation, I think, for animated films that I don't.
Okay, maybe. I like my Pixar's, and I like I find things to even enjoy. And I didn't like the Scoob movie that they did, but the most recent Addams Family, they did an animated Addams Family. I found that quite good, actually.
I watched that recently on Crave.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was a lot better than I thought it was.
It's got more heart than you would expect, and I found the Wednesday plotline pretty cool.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Addams Family Values. But however, I like the animated style in that film. I don't like the animated style in TMNT. I mean, it was good for its time, I guess.
It's bold and brave, I reckon, for 2007.
Yeah, I think they got the voice cast right for the most part. However, I don't like Patrick Stewart's villainous voice role. I thought his voice didn't fit the body of the character. It's very off-putting.
He's the character's too young.
Yeah.
Well, the voice of Sir Patrick Stewart, and I know that he was younger in 2007, obviously, but he feels like a wise old man. Like, I mean, Sir Patrick Stewart could have pulled off Splinter better, I think, than the villain.
Splinter has one funny moment where he's like, "I'm gonna go watch my stories," and then he goes to the TV and it's like, "We interrupt this Gilmore Girls episode" or something like that. That's literally the only part in the whole movie I laughed at.
Well, is it comedy? It's not straight up comedy, though, is it?
No. I suppose the best. Do you view it as like a kind of a sequel to the original 3 live-action movies?
I don't think so. I think it's really. I think they were trying to reboot this and make like an animated series of films with this. But the reception probably I don't think in 2007 the audience was as open as it is today about varying animated styles, because this is very much adult. I feel like it's more adult than it is kid oriented, and I may be wrong. But nowadays you get Into the Spider-Verse, and you can get Trolls and Toy Story 4, and they're all very unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I find this movie quite bold. I'm like, they were brave to put out this pseudo photorealist. Is that what they were going for? Kind of a impression of the city?
Well, see, that's the best thing about the movie is that I guess you can't call it cinematography, but the framing of the shots, and the textures and the look of the city, look of the environments are actually very well done.
It's almost.
I didn't like the character animation.
You don't. I was saying it's almost anime style in the way they do the fights, isn't it? Well, it's like a very action movie, the way they set the cameras. I get that you don't like the animation style. I get that. It's because it's kind of clunky.
And yeah, it is clunky, and it feels like, especially in areas where like the big monsters seem like they don't have weight to them. Everything seems very it looks good in a certain way, and then just the actions. There's one. I'll just point out a scene. April is doing yoga or something in her living room,
and
then just like you really notice how dated the animation is. But the movie was made for $34 million. It only grossed $95 million. Wasn't that big of a success, and it is kind of loosely connected to the original trilogy. But you can take it as its own thing. You don't have to connect them at all. But at the end, there is that reference to Shredder possibly coming back, and I think they were setting him up to come back in a sequel. And I think if they were to do that, they probably would have had had some kind of mention of the first two movies of some sort. Maybe,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm a fan of Chris Evans. I'm a fan of Chris Evans. I'm not a fan of specifically everything that he's been in. But I've like ever since I discovered him with the MCU, I've slowly been going through all his filmography, and I was surprised that he was in this. I had not really considered this as part of my
Yeah,
watch list, but yeah.
he wasn't big then. He was only in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no,
Like
he
that
had
one.
done what was it called? Push? Was it is that the movie?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he wasn't in that many.
That's pretty fun. I like him as a director now though. I think he should continue directing. Ratatouille came out the same year, which is still to this day one of the most beautiful animated movies ever. Just like the Paris cityscapes and the way they did the water and everything. So yeah, but I mean that's big budget Pixar being financed by Disney. So
So
this they can't compete, right?
what was your favorite aspect of the film? What made you like it the most? TMNT. I'm curious because
Okay, legit. I feel like I knew and learned more about the character. Like as someone that's discovered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live with you, right? I feel like I've learned more about the characters, like the four ninjas in this movie, than in the three previous ones.
yeah,
Because in the three previous ones, it's mainly the first one that does the setup, and then the second, like the 2 and 3, are kind of something else. But it's the first one that does. This one does a lot more, and I gotta say though, that is the pro. It's also the con because I feel so much like Raphael should be the fucking leader in this movie. I'm like, he's not doing anything wrong. He's right. You left. You went to the jungle for like a year. He's still trying to fight crime. It's just because he's hot-headed, but I feel like he's the one that grows and learns the most. He has the biggest arc. Is he like a fan favorite? And that's why we spend so much time on him specifically.
you haven't seen the 2014 movie, right?
No, not yet.
Raphael is the main character in that movie.
Oh, really?
It seems like it. I mean,
It's like him and April, right?
technically Megan Fox is, but you know, in terms of the, but yeah, they do a good job at further developing the relationship because if you look at the contention between Raph and Leo, that dates back to the early days of the relationship. But now they're kind of moving out of that teenage phase in this one. And
Yeah, well, they fight it out. They have that fight, but
yeah, that's the best part
really
of
cool.
that's the best part of the movie, as far as I'm
But
concerned.
it's also the dialogue. Like they're evolving and their relationship is growing. It's not just a straight up fight.
Yeah, and when he discovers that Raph is the vigilante,
Yeah,
he doesn't know he doesn't.
Fuck, like no one knows this.
Yeah.
No one.
He doesn't know he's fighting him at first, and then the fight continues after the reveal, and it goes on for a good while and very well animated. And what makes it look a bit more real is the fact that there's rain and there's wetness, and it somehow makes it a little more photorealistic than the rest of the movie.
It's very hard, I think, to actually do rain like animation and make it work because you got to get that shiny, glossy kind of effect, and it's got to kind of drip off. And
yeah, here's an interesting fact about rain and CG and darkness. The best way, especially in the early days of CG, the most realistic looking CG you could do is when it was dark and wet. Because when you added the darkness and the wetness, somehow the texture blended in better with the environment. You look at a movie called Relic. I think it's called The Relic or Relic. And there's a CG monster in that. And it's old school, early CG, but it looks good for the few seconds that they show it because it's just what, you know, it has those textures. And there's another movie called Dragonheart with Dennis Quaid. Jack Quaid's father, actually.
Oh,
as Sean Connery does the voice
of the one with the very terrible, ugly ass dragon in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
that looks very dated now, right? But
yeah.
there's one scene in that movie where it's dark and it's in the rain, and you see the rain falling off the wings, and it somehow makes it for a couple of seconds that dragon look very realistic. So
Really?
if I
Because it looks like a cartoon. It looks like Peter's dragon, basically.
Roland, do you know who Roland Emmerich is? Roland Emmerich.
No,
I want to make sure I know
maybe
who
I do.
I'm talking about. He directed Godzilla, the 1998 Godzilla.
Okay.
Didn't he? Did he? No, wait. Hold on. Godzilla 1998. Hank Azaria from The Simpsons, right? He tells a story about this director who directed Godzilla. And the actors had to go through, Roland Emmerich. The actors had to go through hell in that movie, right? Because he decided to make the CG look more realistic. He wanted it to be at night and in the rain, right?
Okay.
And he told the actors this, and this actually made filming so much more complicated and dirty, and it made the actors sick because you're always in water, you're always covered in rain, water is always being poured down on you. And it was just, if they had to have done that movie with Godzilla in the daytime going around, it would have looked horrendous for the technology they had back then. So that's why they always, my point was basically to, like, CG looks more realistic when it's in shadow and it has more complicated textures added onto it and all this.
Well, ever since I've been a kid and I've been going to see movies, the common joke and trope with my friends was, oh, they put it at night so that they can hide the defaults and like all of the problems. If it's not too detailed, they can hide it, right?
Yeah. Jurassic Park is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I guess. But Jurassic Park is a standard for like high quality VFX and special effects and visual effects. Because even the raptors are beautiful in that.
Even in the day, the daytime shots are really good too. But
now I think that like the Diplodocus, what is it called? The big herbivore thing. I think that's aging a bit now.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch it. Or the herd running by. I think those are the shots that age the most. But
the CG raptors in the night shots in both Jurassic Park and The Lost World are some of the best looking CG in the Jurassic Park movies. And in
it's goddamn better than Jurassic World.
And Jurassic World has this shoddy kind of not realistic CG throughout.
They feel fake. It's the Avatar effect. That's what I call it.
But then when you get
Avatar, you see everything is fake. They're like evolving in a cartoon world, and you get this in so many movies now. Like, but then Lord of the Rings doesn't do that. Hobbit does.
Yeah, but The Lost World ends on a high note, and not The Lost World, Jurassic World ends on a high note because when they get to the nighttime, the raptors all of a sudden look a little more realistic. And then when you get to the final fight between the two dinosaurs, and then the big, thing comes up
on the roof.
On the roof? No, I'm talking about Jurassic World, the end of Jurassic World.
Oh, okay. The first Jurassic World.
Yeah. I'm saying like the CG throughout that movie is shit, and then you get to the nighttime stuff, and then the dinosaurs all of a sudden look that much more real. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, Jurassic World. I know people prefer the first Jurassic World to Fallen. What is it? Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom, yeah.
I prefer the second one, and I've seen Jurassic World 3 times. I don't know why at this point. And every goddamn time, I start falling asleep and my eyes start closing during that final action scene. I just can't.
It takes too long to get to the good stuff in that movie. That's why it doesn't work for me. But Jurassic Fallen Kingdom actually it's kind of good throughout, even though it's like not that great.
I like the setup. I think it's I've been waiting for a post-apocalyptic dinosaur franchise forever, so I hope that's where they're going with it.
The thing about Jurassic
to Ninja Turtles.
Well, just one more note on
go ahead.
What was I going to say? The thing I liked about that movie is because it turns into like a haunted house, a kind of dinosaur haunted house, weird fucking rich people in there, and I didn't know any of that. I thought it was only about the island, right? And then that stops halfway through. Anyway, we're reviewing like 10 different things now, but that's okay.
This is just general movie discussion, generally speaking. Okay,
for our own amusement anyway.
Here's a fun connection, all right? Today I watched, and it will come back to Turtles, right? Today I watched Good Boys.
Just keep talking, I can hear you.
Okay, Good Boys is like an R-rated coming of age film that Seth Rogen's production company put out recently. You got like these three kids that basically want to go to a party, and like hijinks happen to them as they try to go to the party. And so it's very foul, and there's like a lot of swear words. There's like scenes where they try to learn how to kiss on the internet, but they find like a porn video, and so they're all in shock and what have you. It's not the best movie. It's not the best humor. Well, at least not my style too much. But it is put out by Point Grey Pictures, which is the Seth Rogen. I think it's the Seth Rogen production company. They're the guys that put out This Is the End, Sausage Party, that kind of stuff, and they are the ones that will be making the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie that you talked about recently. That's supposed to come out. What is it? Next year or the year after that?
Well, it could be a couple of years.
So
I don't know how long it's going to take.
I don't know how you feel about that, but the people behind Sausage Party are going to be the people putting out the next Ninjas movie.
Yeah, I'm not even remotely interested in another animated movie. But you know what? What's better than TMNT is Batman. I gotta get the name right. Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Batman versus really?
Oh, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna bring up an image. Batman versus. It came out last year, I believe. I remember watching it. I was like, "What is this?" And it's fantastic. The Joker's in it.
Is this in Gotham or is this in New York?
Then
it's not specified. It's just in a city, in a dark city.
Yeah, 2019. Hold on, my internet's very slow because I'm streaming. Yeah, it's called Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched this last year, and it involves Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Bane, Commissioner Gordon's in there, Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze.
Everyone.
Yeah. And it involves Batman fights the Shredder. No spoilers, sorry. But I mean, Joker's in it. It involves the Batman villains coming in contact with a mutagen, and we see what happens there. Oh, it's like I don't know, like 15 times better than TMNT.
I'm intrigued, but
I completely forgot to tell you about it too.
Are these like? Is this like an independent movie of some kind, or is like DC putting this out, or?
It is. It's a crossover from Warner Brothers Animation, DC Entertainment, and Nickelodeon. Well, Nickelodeon and I mean DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers are the same thing, but Nickelodeon, yeah, was owned by CBS, Viacom CBS. So they actually had a comic. I mean, there's been like RoboCop and the Ninja Turtles, or Batman and RoboCop, or something like that. There's been all kinds of weird comic crossovers, but they actually made an animated film of this, right? It's crazy. The design of the turtles, like they don't have pupils. It's like that kind of white eyes like Batman has. Very comic book style. Because that's the way they originally looked, right? They didn't have pupils and whatnot.
In TMNT, I enjoyed, because I'm a big fan of The Mummy, 1999.
Oh yeah.
And like I haven't seen any of the black and white ones or the old ones. I know, shame on me, right? But
yeah, you're not missing much.
Okay, and then I do enjoy like the Return of the Mummy for what it is. It's kind of dumb, and it's got that terribly hideous CG The Rock, but I like that movie because I don't know, and I'm not a hater of the 2017 one. But what I like in those movies is they have that little backstory, and I completely forgot to mention there's the Tomb of the Emperor Dragon or whatever it is. Fuck that movie.
Yeah.
But they all have like a little backstory thing, right? And this movie had the same thing. It had that kind of backstory thing where the dude's trying to, like, the planet's aligned, and then he's raising his army of the dead or whatever it is. And then his generals get turned into those statues, and then he's collecting them. I like that. and I thought that they were like I liked their design, and I think they're fucking cool.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see them fight a little more. Um, anyway, there's like he unleashes like 13 beasts that I have a problem with because some of those beasts are huge, but they all fit in the same size capsules. I don't know if you noticed that. You got
Yeah.
like
It's
13 capsules that are all exactly the same size and really small, and you got these things that like size of buildings. He fits them in there. But
yeah. I think they're large containers because when they show Leo inside one of them, he's it looks very small inside of it.
okay,
And yeah, there is a scale problem. I find the monsters themselves don't look like I said, they don't feel like they have weight to them. Trekker Prizes here. He says, "Hola,
hello, how you
how's
doing?
it
You
how's it
have you
going?"
have you have you ever seen any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, Gary? Yeah, no. So I don't know. I found it. I like the character design and the creature designs in this much more than the whatever the fuck they were called in the second one. They got the
Toka and Razor.
yeah. I mean, they were a bit, you know,
Yeah.
different. So it's not the best thing, um, but it probably is, and this might frustrate you. My favorite of the four that I've seen so far.
Doesn't frustrate me. I kind of understand where you're coming from. All those aspects you just talked about, where at the backstory and the scope of it, kind of,
Mm,
and the whole thing about that's something I understand that you appreciate, but that's like what kind of turned me off to it was like this kind of like mystical kind of backstory and whatnot.
mm. I
Uh,
felt that it added something to the like the mythos of it all. Although maybe I just don't get the Ninja Turtles like as much as someone that's read the comics or watched the shows because maybe it is about their small little environment.
there isn't a good a nice appreciation for this movie from fans because like how deep it goes and yeah, it's ambitious for its time the way it presents it, but at the time I was very disappointed because I wanted to see like classic villains from the cartoon, and you didn't grow up on that.
I
Like
don't know who they are. So
you don't know who
these are
Rat
these are
you don't
these
know who
guys are
Rat
cool to
King
me.
is. You don't know
Oh,
Rat King.
I know Shredder because you got to know Shredder, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a meme basically. But we're
Uh,
not talking about the 80s. We're kind of talking about the 80s movies, Gary. We're talking about the 2007 animated movie that they did. But we've also reviewed the first three 80s
yeah.
movies, 80s to 90s. Maybe they were drifted into.
Yeah, Gary's gone now. He left.
He left.
He's like,
He
yeah,
didn't answer his question, so he's like, "Fuck this."
this is boring, he says. No, how do I okay. I didn't know how to take that off for a second. But yeah, you got to check out the Batman versus Teenage. I want to watch that again.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy, and the animation is it's hand drawn digital animation, obviously, but yeah, it's nice. It's got an anime kind of quality to it. That's, I mean, even just check out a trailer to see like.
I was like, "Is this a Ninja Batman movie in there as well?"
Actually, I'm gonna see if I can bring up a trailer. I might get Warner Brothers might come after me.
Oh no, or Nickelodeon.
They're like, you can't live stream for 3 months. I'm like, okay, wasn't going to anyway.
Yeah. What else? I think I wasn't convinced by the villain too much. Like, and I don't know if it's due to Sir Patrick Stewart's voice acting. Or I have no problem with Sir Patrick Stewart as an actor. I've just never found his voice to suit animated characters too well. Like, it's obviously him.
It's American Dad is the
Yeah,
best one. Yeah,
it's him. He's doing him. Essentially, he's just doing a parody version of himself or a parody version of Picard, right? On that show. Whereas, like, even in like and I know the Emoji Movie is not something that people reference, but like the Emoji Movie, he's the father of the poop. Um,
yeah,
and it's like it's so obviously him behind the voice that it kind of takes away from it.
yeah. I'm gonna take that off now. I just wanted to show you what they
Yeah.
look like.
I saw what they look. They got the pretty wide eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you definitely would give this a yes out of 10,
Yeah,
I would say.
I do. I give this a yes out of 10. And like honestly, as a non like hardcore Ninja fan, Ninja Turtles fan, and as someone that's discovering this, if I were to say recommend one of the movies to someone out there, I'd be like, if you're into animation, try this one, and then of course it would be like the first one out of the three.
Yeah.
I would never recommend Turtles in Time, though, whatever it's called.
Will you ever check out the 2014
I will.
version?
I'm intrigued now.
Uh,
Not because Stephen Amell is in it. I don't care, but
Clash of the Titans. You mentioned Clash of the Titans. I just want to talk about this. Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans is
okay.
a 2010
Louis Ladier, or whatever his name is. He directed Clash of the Titans. He directed. What's the second one? There's a Wrath. Yes.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay. The guy who directed Wrath of the Titans directed the 2014 Ninja Turtles movie.
Wasn't that a Michael Bay production? Or did he just?
Yeah, he produced it.
Okay.
But the guy who Wrath of the Titans, I find, is a little bit better than the first one in terms of visually. The CG is really good.
Okay. The only thing I know about the 2014 version, and I know nothing much really about the 2017, is it a couple of years later? The 2014, I know that people were mad because they changed the backstory. They made them aliens of some kind.
No. Michael Bay said that's what they were going to do with them, and then him just saying that caused so much backlash, they changed it to Mutant Turtles, genetically engineered. You know,
okay.
They were like grown. They were engineered in a lab.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not a freak accident. It's like
April's dad creates them.
I don't like that already.
See,
I'm already mad at that.
April knew them as a little girl when they were in like jars and stuff.
I don't like that. See, that takes away from anyway.
And then Whoopi Goldberg is her boss, and she's like, she's like, she can't get her head around this Ninja Turtle stuff. And April seems like a total lunatic, and like her colleagues are justified thinking that. And Megan Fox plays the most idiotic version of April O'Neil. Like Judith Hoag is like a strong woman. Like she's like strong woman from South Park. Strong woman. You know what I mean? Like you don't mess with her. I mean, she gets
in the first movie specifically from the 80s. She's great.
Well, it's from 1990, but technically it was filmed. Technically was filmed in
in 89 or 88.
Yeah, 89 maybe. I guess. Actually, no, maybe. Yeah, she is. Judith Hoag was the best April. There's nobody that can hold a candle to her. And by the way, Judith Hoag plays April's mother. No, it's not. I don't know if it's April's mother or April's mentor.
They brought her back to do like a cameo. They like doing that. They like bringing.
I'm spoiling the movies for you.
Yeah, well, you're not spoiling anything good so far, to be honest.
I gotta say, if you watch the 2014 and some of a little bits here and there of the 2016 are good, but in the 2014 version, there are some scenes that are so well animated. It doesn't all look great, but sometimes it looks so good and so photorealistic. There's one point where Splinter looks so real, it's almost disgusting to look at. It's like you're seeing a big wet rat. And it's like, ugh. Other times he doesn't look that great, but
Okay.
There's some scenes that look just like a cartoon, and then other scenes
did they motion capture that one? Or
yeah. You can tell that there are certain scenes that are all like completely independently done. Like they're not actually using actors in those scenes because it looks like an animated movie when they're like jumping around and flip, all this kind of stuff. But then some scenes you can tell.
Do they get the physics right? Because often in movies you get like the really weird, janky, wall jumps and stuff, and like the physics always seem kind of off. Like as you said, there's no weight to them, or
it's hit and miss.
Like they got too much speed compared to like how much. Okay.
Yeah. For example, the early scenes in the second movie are like really great looking. And there are some actually really great moments of dialogue between the characters that look really good, and then other times it's like, oh, something to do with like the lighting or something makes it look CG again. But it's one of those weird movies where uh, it was very divisive. Like a lot of people think, a lot of fans thought it was crap, but they appreciated the visual effects. But they're too big. They're like giant turtles, and the physics of it don't make any sense because the sewers and stuff are extra big to accommodate how like large these guys are.
The giants.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about the lighting in this movie that I haven't seen yet, but in this animated like TMNT, the lighting does like the directorial choices I felt were very good.
Yes.
I agree with that. It was directed like you direct a movie. It wasn't like, oh, let's direct an animated feature and there were some corny things in it, but it was really well lit. Like you say, they added the rain, they added like there's the weather, all of the cityscapes are great. The textures, sometimes when you're zooming in on bricks, they don't look very detailed, I guess, but
yeah. They did this thing in early CG where, especially if you watch a show called Reboot, where they really fell in love with taking advantage of long shots over environments, like zooming like really far out of a city, or like the camera flying through an environment and going into a window, and then doing all this stuff. And there's a lot of shots in this movie where there are long shots, establishing shots that like where the camera like goes up and then like pans down, like the circle of the monsters and all this stuff. So visually, that's the best thing about it.
Even the jungle in the beginning.
It wasn't bad.
He's fighting. What is he doing? Fighting crime lords or
pirates or something. He's a pirate hunter. I don't
know. Jungle pirates.
Yeah, jungle pirates.
Yeah. It's bigger in scope and scale. That's for sure. It's and it's kind of strange what they did with the foot. Like you feel like it's no longer, it's like the daughter. What is it, like the daughter of Shredder or someone else that just took over the foot?
That character is also in the 2014 version, by the way. Okay. And I think the sequel as well. I forget her name. Let me see.
Let me see. They made the foot kind of people for hire, like just
Karai
for hire.
Karai is a fictional character in the various installments of, but she is usually a high-ranked member of the Foot Clan outlaw ninja organization. She was originally introduced in Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's comic book series in 1993. Since then, she has appeared in several different TMNT comics. In some incarnations of the character, including the 2003 animated series, which, by the way, is not bad, and the 2012 animated series and the 2010 comic, she is closely related to the villain Shredder and his adopted daughter or biological granddaughter. As his adopted daughter or biological granddaughter.
I know the foot is a parody of the hand, right?
Supposedly. Yeah, from Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the bloody thing from Batman. What's it called?
The League of Shadows.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels more like that. And Shredder feels more like Ra's al Ghul than...
Yeah. You know what they do with the foot in 2014? They make them a military organization. And originally, Shredder was supposed to be this white dude, right? Called Eric Sachs.
Okay.
And Eric Sachs is the Americanized version of Oroku Saki, which is the name of Shredder in the,
So they want to like whitewash, as you say.
Yeah, and they got backlash, and what they did was they shoehorned in this like really tall Japanese actor who you barely see. He's always kind of in shadow, but he's got like scars all over his face.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he goes out and does the Shredder stuff.
I forget his name, but him who plays Sao Fang in Pirates.
What's the
You know who I'm
story
talking
behind the talking brain? Oh, Krang. Yeah. You don't know about Krang, do you, Sean?
I don't know about Krang. I don't know
Oh,
about these things.
oh, you don't know about Krang. Well, Krang is an interdimensional being who works with Shredder. And back in the day, in an animated
This is
series,
full-blown fantasy.
yeah.
Or
Oh,
sci-fi.
yeah. The original animated series was Shredder was teamed up with Krang, who was like kind of his superior, but they lived in a technodrome under the city, which was a large dome-shaped. I got to show you this. I got to show you the technodrome because I had this toy as a kid, right? This was like the
This sounds
toy to
amazing.
have.
This sounds Gargoyles quality. If anyone, I'm a huge fan of the Gargoyles, and I'm watching through it. So I talk about this all the time. But if someone goes and watches Gargoyles, it's not just a bunch of gargoyles on a castle. It's so much more. There's so much time travel. There's so much sci-fi shit. There's like mechs, androids, augments. There's like everything, every trope that you can think of happens in this thing. It's like it's all over the place. I love it.
Yeah.
Lasers.
This is the Technodrome I'll show you now. This is from the not the 80s series, but like the later series. But it looks exactly the same. It always looks exactly the same in everything. But this is where Shredder lives with Krang. Share screen.
Instead of the junkyard.
Yeah. They could never afford to do a Technodrome in.
Well, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like it was an independent movie anyway, so.
Here's the Technodrome.
It's like a Borg sphere, but with forks.
Krang. I'll show you Krang.
It's a big tank.
Yeah, basically. And the cool thing about Krang is he has this huge robot that he lives in the belly of, and this robot can walk around for him and stuff.
So is it like an alien brain or?
Yeah, it looks like a brain, but it's like an alien creature of some kind.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Krang and the Technodrome. And anyway, they're introduced in
the recent
in the 2016 sequel, Out of the Shadows, it's called. But the 2016 sequel, which is horrible, is what they gave the fans exactly what they wanted, but it came out so bad. They gave the fans, people were saying, "Where's Casey Jones? Where's Rocksteady and Bebop? Where's Krang?" And they're like,
So they
"We'll give you all." They gave them all of that, and it comes out as such a weird cartoon. And Stephen Amell is in the movie, and I like Stephen Amell. I think he's a good guy, but he fucking sucks in this movie so hard. He's like, I want to be a detective. He's like such a little whiny little.
He's one of the nicest people on the internet.
He's too nice.
Very nice things, but I'm not convinced by his acting talents. I'm sorry, bro.
No.
I'm sorry if you ever watch this. I think you're an amazing. Like I think all of this, like the stunts and the physical things that he does are really cool in Arrow, but he feels more like a stuntman than an actual actor. And I say that it sounds mean towards professionals in the stunt business, because it's not that they're not professional actors. What they do is fucking intense. It's just that he seems more like a stunt person than an emotional performer, right?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be my pick for any full-blown movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have gone. I mean, I would have gone for someone else, I guess. But maybe they thought there was crossover audience between Arrow, like the Arrowverse, and Ninja Turtles. I don't know.
Yeah. So we've said pretty much everything we could say about TMNT.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the title. I don't like the fact that it's called TMNT. I think that calling the movie TMNT assumes that you know it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. Whereas if you're doing a reboot or a remake or restarting a franchise, you shouldn't assume like that. Yeah. Kind of the same way Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has one big problem for me. It's that Fisk never does anything bad. Fisk is
A
not
what?
a villain.
Fisk.
Yeah,
Who's
Wilson Fisk.
Oh, Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, Wilson
Oh,
Fisk.
okay. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
into the Spider-Verse, he doesn't do anything bad. Like if you on paper, the only thing he does is kill his uncle.
Yeah.
But his uncle's already a criminal anyway, so he's just killing one of his underlings. Like he does nothing bad. What he's trying to do is get back his wife from another universe where because Spider-Man caused his wife and kid to die.
He's a sympathetic villain, but he's not a good guy.
Well, I mean, he's not well, we know that Wilson Fisk is a villain. And the movie relies on the fact that we know that on paper. In that movie, he does nothing bad. I'm actually convinced that
he kills the guy. He kills the uncle.
Yeah, he kills the uncle.
That's bad enough.
Villain anyway. Well, he's a villain anyway.
But
he's working for him.
You can't justify the man's death because he made some poor choices.
But then Spider-Man, in a way, kind of killed his wife and his daughter. I just think that if Spider-Man, with all his scientific knowledge, had rather helped Wilson Fisk develop a more stable multiverse thingamajig machine, I think they could have worked together to actually retrieve a wife and daughter from a universe where the father had died. So they could have been reunited. And I think that Spider-Man could have helped him. That's the heroic way to go. But rather than that, he just beats him up.
Well, yeah, the whole multiverse thing is a whole can of worms anyway. It's like we can do anything now. We can just, and they literally just do it. It seems like the movie is just vomiting ideas throughout. Not a lot of them land, but a lot of it's like
that's how Warner Brothers are treating Batman at the moment.
Have you not seen Mask of the Phantasm?
No.
Yeah, if you watch it, you'll be like, okay, Batman Begins. This happened in Batman Begins. Oh, this kind of is where this happens in Batman Begins. Like there is a Batman Begins element to it.
Okay.
But yeah, Batman versus the Ninja Turtles is a lot better than this. TMNT. I have nothing more to say about this awful, terrible movie that nobody should watch. It's worse than Part 3. No, I'm joking. It's not worse than Part 3. Part two is not that
better than Part 2 for you. Is TMNT animated movie better than the second live action one, in your opinion?
I gotta say, I'm almost completely tapped out on 2 at this point. Like 3 especially. I'll never watch 3 again. Probably never, ever. Nor will I the animated movie. I struggled to get through. I was like, I'm going to watch this animated movie again. Because I took my nephew to see it in 2007. He was a little kid who loved Ninja Turtles. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I'm like, no, you're wrong.
You're wrong, child.
You're wrong because of the Shredder is not there. Rat King isn't there. Baxter Stockman, who's played by Tyler Perry in 2016 film. Anyway, yeah, no, I didn't. See, that's the thing. A lot of kids liked it because it was their introduction to the Turtles.
It brings. It does a good job at being dark, but without being like it's not R-rated, right? It's not straight up disgusting or
it's horror. Not overly violent, yeah.
Yeah, but it is. It does a good job at. I think there's no blood at all in this movie.
No.
But they got nunchucks and swords and shit, but no blood. But then it's clever because you're fighting rock monsters. So you don't even kill them technically. It's like you destroy them. You destroy the bad, evil being, right?
Yeah. And just to be clear, I was joking. I don't think it's an awful movie or anything like that. But the first one is always like I'm always looking for the next 1990 TMNT. You know what I mean? Like, when's that going to happen? Because they keep getting it kind of wrong in every iteration since. And I'm serious. I'm getting old. I got to grow out of that, right? I know I grew up on it. I had the toys. Like, it's a nostalgia trip.
The Seth Rogen Sausage Party team produced animated movie won't be that for you.
I doubt it. I mean, it's just going to be more of the same shit. You know what they should do, and it's not financially viable, and it's probably never going to happen, is just do a serious an actual serious, like, try and add some realism to it.
I think that could work. Like, I think that would be more interesting. Maybe the first one wouldn't make money, but once everyone catches on and you do like a sequel to that, I think that's like people would enjoy the more kind of realistic grittiness of it. We have enough family friendly, you know, Marvel-esque kind of franchises nowadays. That I would like Pirates of the Caribbean to be. I want a Pirates of the Caribbean R-rated TV show. That's what I want. Like, just reboot it and give us, you know, full-blown fantasy horror. You know, I don't know, tits and dicks when you're in Tortuga. You know what I mean? Like Black Sails kind of thing. Just make it realistic.
Wait, you're talking about like like a hardcore kind of HBO Showtime kind of style.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get you. I get you now. Yeah, because when you said like tits and dicks, I was like, that sounds a lot like Showtime and HBO to me.
Well, Stars did Black Sails, and they did that.
Yeah,
it's not pornography as such.
No.
When you go to the beach on this island full of pirates, there are going to be people that are naked because it's a bunch of pirates that are drunk on a beach, right?
That's what I find a little bit confusing about newer Star Trek is that they're willing to go to these certain like areas, like the gore and
babies.
Yeah, like decapitated baby heads and all that stuff, and I bet you they'd be really, really scared to show a Beta Z wedding. They'd be and not actually.
We got Klingon breasts though.
Yeah, but I bet you like they have this. I think in America for some reason they're more tolerant of gore and violence than they are of sex and nudity. And in Canada, we're a little more like it was a Canadian movie one time. It was made in Newfoundland, and it has nudity, it has bare breasts, it has the F word, and it was like PG. It's weird.
I mean, Westworld, let's talk specifically season 1. They have all of this nudity all the time with the hosts that are naked. Like all of these hosts, these androids, they put them naked because, you know, they're just an android. And so you got to work on them and you got to open panels up and whatever. It's not obscene or offensive, and it's tasteful in the sense that you're supposed to not interpret them as people anyway. You're supposed to look at it and think, oh yeah, whatever, they're just an android, and it's done well. And I think like some shows can handle that. I mean, Star Trek could, but no, I think if they do the breasts or if they do nudity, it's more for the shock factor. Even in this recent Lower Decks trailer that we got, when he's naked, it's for the shock factor.
Yeah, and with TMNT, that started as the comic started as like kind of dark. It was a parody of something, but it was serious and dark. And it was
a parody of Daredevil.
Yeah. It's the ooze from the ooze that blinded
blinds him, creates Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you could see. I always imagine like go back to the style of the 1990 version. Have guys in suits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have animatronic heads. You know what? I get frustrated because they haven't.
That was CG though.
Exactly, and the fact that I don't know why, but animatronics kind of went by the wayside when CG came about, and we get some of that in Mandalorian, like somebody with an actual animatronic puppet head on, the short guy voiced by.
They've got the puppet Yoda. Is he animatronic or is he just a puppet?
Oh yeah, he's animatronic puppet, yeah, and it's mixed with CG.
Sometimes, well, they CG when he walks off the ship and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like certain little things here and there, but mostly what you're seeing is a real thing. And why couldn't they just go back to that? It could be a lot cheaper. See, that's the thing. You want to make them all CG. That's a huge chunk of your budget. Go back to the old style.
Has it not gotten to the point where it's cheaper to do it CG?
No. You look at the credits for movies nowadays that have a lot of CG. It's endless, and you're just and you're like, oh, no wonder that's why it costs like 120 million, even though you don't have a lot of big stars in it or something like that who are like very highly paid. It's weird.
I got to respond to this Gary comment here. He says it's almost like wishing, I suppose, in reference to what you wish for regarding the Turtles. He says it's almost like wishing for Tim Burton's Batman to resurrect, but it will never happen.
It might be.
It's happening, Gary. They're bringing him back for the Flash movie or something.
Apparently,
maybe
he's in talks anyway. Michael Keaton will reprise his role as '90s Batman.
That's '90s Batman in the multiverse for the Flash movie. So
yeah, I brought that comment up earlier. I wanted to comment on it, but we were talking. But yeah, that's. I don't know if he's aware of that. Maybe it probably will never actually happen. Who knows? I don't know.
They might just ruin his favorite Batman for him.
Yeah. But yeah, do a mature rated goddamn live action, because that's as soon as they announced.
I think that would be a good idea.
As soon as they announced the Seth Rogen stuff, what did all the the hardcore fans say? I don't know. It's weird to call TMNT like hardcore fans of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles don't take themselves all that seriously. They know it's kind of fucking weird and stupid, but. Trek Price says, no, that's not the same. I have heard the news.
I don't know how people reacted to like the announcement, and I think people don't maybe know that it's as of yet produced by the production company. But like the moment they better not write from the producers of Sausage Party, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, don't write that. That's not gonna work. Like, what are they? Because it's all those people that are always chilling together. James Franco, Seth Rogen, that crew.
Yeah, I think the best approach to this animated movie should be
Jay Baruchel,
Jay Baruchel or something like that, Canadian guy.
All of them.
They're all everybody from This Is the End.
Yeah.
I think I don't know anything about the Seth Rogen produced movie, but if they're smart about it, they should go for a photorealistic animation, not like Lion King level, but make the humans almost look like a really cool PS5
Tintin.
The Tintin style, exactly, something like that. Except not as those characters were a little exaggerated, their features.
Yeah,
really actually tone that down a bit. Still make them look like. Don't do the Uncanny Valley thing where it's like Polar Express with Tom Hanks, like that. That's crazy. But I think if they made the turtles like really photorealistic looking, almost like as much as in the 2014 version, but just in a cartoon like a CG environment, with like April O'Neil and Casey Jones are CG.
I feel like it will be R-rated because most of the movies that Seth Rogen puts out are R-rated anyway.
Do you think they'd have the balls to do that? He's partner. It's Nickelodeon though. I think they're going to go PG-13.
I'm going to be honest. They're completely mad to give the project to him in the first place.
Oh.
So yeah,
he's coming out with a movie now where he plays his own great-grandfather or something. His great-grandfather was preserved in brine, and he awakens years later. It's called Pickle something.
Oh, an American Pickle. I see it here.
Yeah. An American Pickle. The trailer actually looks really good.
Oh, it's an HBO Max. It's the first original film released by HBO Max.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't want to open with the Snyder Cut. They opened with some Seth Rogen.
Yeah, so
I don't know. We'll see. They're doing a Where's Waldo movie apparently.
Yeah, let's take the next few minutes. Let's take the next few minutes before we go to talk about like literally anything.
Talk about literally anything.
Just for a couple of minutes, like you want to talk about Lower Decks?
Yes, I always want to talk about Lower Decks. I'm hype. I think the trailer sucks ass. I think the trailer was not good, and I think it misrepresents the show completely. But like for anyone who's seen my live stream about that, you know. But I'm very hype about Lower Decks. I think it's going to be great.
You compared. Also, I'm still here. You compared the trailer to that of Star Trek Beyond,
yes.
Where I remember when that trailer came out. It was some big event, and they had Scott Mentz interviewing the cast, right? And then they released a trailer that night. And I remember everybody was like, no. This is not good. It was too out there and bizarre. And you go back and
Pegg went on not a rant maybe, but Simon Pegg commented about it. And he said, like, this is not the movie that I wrote.
they made Star Trek look like a pure Fast and Furious, because it was from the director of one of the Fast and Furious, I think Fast and Furious 6.
Well, Justin Lin.
No, Justin Lin. Fast and Furious 5?
4, 5, 6, 7, I think.
James Wan directed 7.
Okay, so 4, 5, 6. And then now he's coming back for 10, I think. Because it turned to shit after that. 7 and 8. And yeah, 7 and 8 aren't too good. And he's coming back for 9, I think.
Yeah.
I say this as if anyone likes Fast and Furious out there. I'm the only fuck that likes it. Well, no, there's plenty of people because they make billions of dollars. But I enjoy my Fast and Furious movies for what they are.
Yeah, they didn't. They made it look like too much like a Fast and Furious movie, and having sabotage play throughout it.
Well, apparently people like that. See, I complain about this, but I see so many comments online about people that enjoy the sabotage.
In the first and third movie, it's okay. I don't mind it being used in the movie, but in terms of that first trailer, it's the music for the trailer throughout the whole thing, and it's just this Star Trek action, Star Trek action, Star Trek.
Then they went for the Rihanna song, which was a strange move because it was like the first time a Star Trek movie went with a pop song to kind of promote itself. Usually we stick to orchestral pieces.
Yeah, Rihanna is a Trekkie, man. She loves Trek, man.
Oh yeah.
She smokes that weed and watches that Trek just like the rest of us. But I can't remember that song. I remember it was like nice. I was like, yeah, this is kind of nice.
I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy the Rihanna version. There's a cover done by another girl on the internet, like a younger girl, and I think that she sings way better. And so when I used to listen to the song, I used to listen to the cover version, not the Rihanna one. I'm not a fan.
So you think Lower Decks, that trailer, is a misrepresentation of the show itself?
Yeah, I think this is not a trailer that like Mike McMahon would have went for.
And just to be clear, he has no control over that stuff.
Probably, yeah, he probably doesn't have. Like, I think that someone at CBS was like, we need to front load this thing with all of the most basic jokes that we have that'll smack straight away so that people will enjoy it. We got to make it feel like it's kind of Rick and Morty to appeal to them. We got those Final Space type jokes, and we're just going to dump all that in there.
Speaking of that, I started watching Final Space. I'm into the 3rd episode.
Okay.
I'm still iffy on it. I don't know if I like it or not. I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't know if I like this.
Here's the thing. You will be iffy for the entire first season.
Oh.
That's how it goes. But I promise you it's worthwhile, because once you get into the second season, I feel like the characters it's not a soft reboot, but they do they find their footing, I find, with the jokes and with the characters and all of that. I very much like Final Space season 2. I watched that when Rick and Morty season 4 was coming out, and I was much more impressed with Final Space season 2 than I was with the first half of the 4th season of Rick and Morty. The second half is good. The final 5 episodes that they just released, I'm fine with. I like them. The meta train and everything, that was good.
Yes, I like seasons 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, season
4 is not. 4 is okay.
I don't like the more serialized Rick and Morty. I like it when it's more episodic. I don't mind the story arcs behind it. But.
Yeah. But yeah, Lower Decks, we're just going to have to wait and see about that. But I have an idea. We'll leave it here for now. But anytime like you want to get on my other Boat Wreck channel and we can talk about any new material that's been released, or we can continue this discussion whenever. But my computer is like right about to die. I don't have my plug. But yeah, this is a good discussion. We went into a lot of different topics. Just to clarify, this was about TMNT. but we did talk about like a lot of other TMNT, and we got into like a lot of different areas. And we want to thank Trekker Prize for sticking around and watching us and retweeting us on Twitter. So yeah, we're gonna leave it here before my thing awkwardly dies on me.
And you just disappear.
And I was like, we're in the middle of a sentence and I'm just gone.
All right.
All right, so
Bye.
live long and prosper.